Hey, Michael, thanks for returning to the Simplifying Entrepreneurship podcast.
My pleasure. Great to be here again. Thanks for the invitation.
Yeah, I mean, I could chat with you every day. I love our conversations, and one of the things that we talked about a few years back when you were coaching me was the idea around dashboards and how important they are for having all your key metrics in place. And I know you work with a lot of different businesses and you kind of have this system that you want to see everything so you can really, when you're going in and consulting and working with all those people, you have everything there for you and you know what's necessary to look at and what's, let's call it green, red, and yellow as far as the sort of the traffic light. What's green, what's red, and what's yellow. So
Yeah.
tell us a little bit about your dashboard and how you work with that with the clients that you work with.
Sure. Well, the underlying premise is that you can't manage what you don't measure.
Yeah.
And often when entrepreneurs get surprised by things in their business because they weren't looking at them in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
And so to me, setting up what are the key measures in each particular business, because it varies. Some of them are consistent across the board. Some of them it can vary given the nature of your business. Then look at them on a regular basis, be it some are daily for me, some are weekly, some monthly and quarterly.
Yeah.
And what are those things you look at? For me, one of the top ones every day, I look at the cash position. What's my accounts receivable? What are my accounts payables? What is my available cash today? What's my available bank line today? And what is the future projections going out for 90 days? Look at that all the time, because if you don't have cash, you're in trouble. You can't make a payroll or you can't seize an opportunity. And so I always have in a business, what are my cash levels that I want to maintain and keep an eye on? And so that is a key one. And then there's sales ones that I look at. And normally it's, what's in my pipeline, like what's the work that I've done and signed that I have to deliver.
Mm-hmm.
Then what is in my 80% line, which means they haven't signed a contract yet, but it's pretty close.
Yep.
50% is we're having conversations and I think it's going to go well. And so that gives me my forward look in the business. And then one of my other metrics I look at is then break down that pipeline into future delivery, because the main business I'm involved with, we've got about 50 people in it.
Yeah.
Different roles. So we've actually got it so sophisticated we can break out our future. We look at our pipeline so we know what we've got over the next 3 or 4 months to deliver. Then break it out in terms of work per role. And so we know if we're going to have a capacity problem delivering in the future or not. And that we look at on a weekly basis. And then the monthly and quarterly are more, monthly is just a P&L on the month. Where are
Yep.
we? And are we on track for our metrics for the year? Like what do we want to do in sales?
Mm-hmm.
And the quarterly is a deep dive on the last quarter. And what do we have to, that's our change meeting. What do we need to modify going forward? So that's in a service industry that I'm really involved with. And the key thing for me too is I need to see things visually. I used to do all this on spreadsheets, right? But now there's great technology. So I use Domo a lot, DOMO, and it integrates really well into the systems and the businesses that we've got. And so once you set it up, which isn't too hard, it goes into your data, whether you're on QuickBooks or whether you're on NetSuite or whatever, and it pulls the information to give you live time. You can set the update. We update it hourly. That you can see live time, where are we? And so it's key for managing your business.
Michael, tell me some of the things that you monitor that may not be on Domo. Like what are the other things that maybe aren't, sales oriented or, those kind of things? What are the things around that you're monitoring? And I'm saying specifically, like, do you have dashboards for lead gen, or do you have dashboards for customer retention or client retention or employee retention, or do you work with any of those kind of things too, or most of the stuff you work with is sort of specific to that sales train?
Yeah, no, another business I'm involved with is very much into acquiring clients and then keeping them and having them renew.
Yeah,
It's way better to have recurring revenue than new revenue.
for
I
sure.
want to have both, so we continually look at renewal rates and capture rates. But the goal is to build the renewal rate ongoingly. So that's our countable cash flow. And the new business that comes into it is the wins on top. And then always, what is our total client base? Because some fall off. Are we getting enough in that we're growing the base? And another business that is involved in personal fitness, virtual training and in-home training, but now all virtual,
Yeah,
and that's across the entire country. What we look at there is more click rates. Like, is the search SEO working? What's our click rate through to this level? Click rate through to this level, to this level. This is where we send them this, down to capturing them as a paying client. And what are those steps that gives us our true cost of acquisition, which is something we always look at. And again, that's on a dashboard where we can see that, okay, last month our cost of acquisition was X per person, because we're paying for Google ads and LinkedIn ads and all those
yeah.
kinds of things. So it lets us test it. But a cost of acquisition is the key thing that we look at. So
So you can get those ones on Domo as well?
get it all. Yep.
Yeah, that's
Domo
awesome.
does it.
That's
Gecko's
awesome.
another one that people use. I just tend to use Domo in the businesses I'm involved with.
Yeah.
And it drills in like it's phenomenal. Like, not just give you the virtual, let's say going back to what are my accounts receivable? Well, great, it's X amount. Yeah, great, I'm owed 900,000. Perfect. But I can
Right.
click into it. What is it, 30, 60, 90 and over? Then I can click into that, which particular people are in my over 90. And then
Yeah.
it clicks into what messages has the accounting team put on each one, so I know what we're doing about it. And that's all from just clicking deeper and deeper into that one spot, the dashboard.
And that's great. And everybody can share that. Everybody that it needs to have that information, it's there for them. And I think that's such a crucial piece, right?
Well, exactly. It's also then looking at what do my managers need? What do these people need? And so we've actually created dashboards for each key team leader, the things that they need to be looking at to manage their team.
Yeah, that's great. You can't measure what you can't see, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And and some people see things. Some people see things in different. They want the graph. Other people want the list. But when it's all available to you, they can grab it whatever way they want. Then and it's all the same information. So that's awesome.
Yeah,
I like that.
and I keep talking about Domo because it's the one I know, but I'm sure there's a number of others that do the same thing.
Yeah,
But
sure. Yeah.
you can click on it and go, hey, I like to look at pie graphs. I like circles. Good. Oh, no, I
Yeah.
like trend lines. Click that. And suddenly it takes your pie graph and does it. So just with clicks of buttons, you can have it visualized however you want to see it.
Yeah, one of the things that I say often, fate isn't a good indicator. So you need to have these indicators in order to help you, move ahead and talk. We've talked in the past about momentum and making sure that things are in alignment. And without these indicators, it's pretty hard. What would you tell somebody that said, I'm different, I can't put my stuff on one of these things, or, our business is different and it doesn't work that way.
Yeah, I would say in more stronger terms, that's not true. Let's rip apart your business. Let's look at it. How do you make money? What are the key things that are important to you? Okay, we can look at this weekly. We can look at this monthly, whatever. You can't tell me that there's no value on a monthly basis looking at your costs versus budget and looking at a variance. And say, well, I don't have budgets. I go, well, great. Your lack of planning means you're planning to fail.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And I run
think,
it all the time. People, well, I don't make a plan because it keeps changing. Well, yeah, but if you don't have any plan at all, it's not going to work. So at least get a plan so you have a direction you're moving in, and then modify it as you go. But without that direction, how can you be a leader of an organization and be inspiring to other people unless you can give the vision of where we're going?
Exactly.
If you're just saying more of the same, and if it grows, that's okay. great, but that's not the boat I want to be on.
And I think the other thing too is when you have this information available to you at the ready and it's there at your fingertips, it allows you the opportunity to make the changes you need to make even quicker. You know, if you see things aren't going to happen, then you make those changes. If you see things are going really well, then it allows you to make the changes you need to get your supplies in for the rest of the stuff. I mean, without it, you're just it's fly by night, right?
Yeah. Yeah, you're flying without instruments, hoping you're going to get to where you're heading and actually then land the plane.
Yeah.
That's not going to go very well. Yeah.
It's not.
The other thing, particularly in COVID times, and I don't think we're ever going back to a model where everyone's going to go to the office 5 days a week or 6 or whatever it was, is that as long as you've got an internet connection, you can access this information any time of day, any place you are. So we've been working remotely, but everybody has the same information, and the system's working, and you can click it up and look at it every morning, wherever you are, at your coffee, if that's when you like to look at things first, or whatever your schedule is, wherever you happen to be geographically. And that's freeing. You know, it
is.
It's a double-edged sword. It's freeing, but it's also, you need some discipline to not get up on Saturday. If Saturday's a day where you're not going to work, which I wholeheartedly say you need to pick days in the week where you're not working, it's very easy to just flip on your computer and go, oh, I'm just going to have a little peek at this, to actually not do it. So it takes some discipline not to look at it on a 7-day-a-week basis.
Yeah, I agree. You know, do you have any final words of wisdom here with regards to the dashboard before we wrap things up on this particular conversation here today, Michael?
Yeah, I would say it's a valuable exercise. Just sit back, look at your business and say, what are the things that I should be looking at that are going to help me manage this better, help me grow it better? What are those things? Whether or not they're dashboards you've got, spreadsheets, whether or not that you don't even look at it right now. But if I came in from outside with fresh eyes, what would I say this business should be looking at to be successful? Then take those things and start to put routines around it so you can get that information. You know, often we keep doing what we've always done. I always like to step back and say, okay, if I was a brand new director of this company or a brand new shareholder, you know, or I just bought it, what would I want to be looking at to know that it's successful and on track?
I like that lens. I think that's a good way of looking at it. If I was brand new and not the same old,
not the same old.
looking at it with a brand new lens as that new person coming in as a leader, how would you look at it? And then you can go from there. I like that.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, thanks for spending some time with me here again today, Michael. Why don't you tell everybody, if they want to get a hold of you, a little bit about your business and how they can do that?
Sure. The main thing I do now, other than the real estate investment work that I do on my own behalf, is I do entrepreneurial coaching and advising work to successful entrepreneurs that want to grow their business exponentially. And you can get me at my email, michael@redvestcorp.com. I know you're going to pop that up on the thing so people will be able to see it, so I won't spell it for you. But reach out, drop me an email. I'd love to know what you're up to and what you're doing.
Thanks again, Michael, for the time here today. Really appreciate it, and I think it was a great conversation.
My pleasure. I always welcome these chats. Thank you.
Right on. Talk soon.
All right. Bye.